Hey, now say now, welcome to another episode of the No Ceilings Podcast on the Turtlesmith Network. I'm Vincent, here with my favorite hostess with the mostest, Courtney.
What's up?
What's happening?
How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing today?
I'm good.
You good?
I'm good.
You sure?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a little thrown off, but I'm good. A little thrown off.
I like the gear you wearing today.
You know it.
Representation. Yeah, y'all know
Thunder
where we
up,
at for
baby.
real now.
Thunder up, baby.
That's right. You know what time it is. Finals time. Ooh, was I supposed to say that?
It's fine.
It's finals time. I'm
It's
excited
finals
to
time.
be a Thunder fan. We didn't have no team growing up, so yeah, in y'all face,
From the person that don't do
no sports at all. I'm just
No
happy for
sports.
my state and our team.
absolutely.
Thunder up, baby.
Thunder
But that ain't here what we here to talk about
Them
today.
thirsty thunder.
They hungry. Mm-hmm.
We don't eat today.
Yes, sir. But today we're gonna be diving into the workplace truth that nobody escapes. Learning how to work with people who are not like you.
Child.
Different personalities, different communication styles, different dialects, different languages, all that different stuff.
Yeah.
Just different all the way around the board.
Differences of opinion, cultures, all of that. So
But everybody is, when it comes to a job, everybody's here for the same purpose.
absolutely.
An outcome and for income.
Yes, it is a transactional relationship. To me, it is, I come and I give you my work, and in turn, you give me a check.
Right.
I think that a lot of times the lines can get blurred as you begin to build relationships with people.
Absolutely.
But I mean, at the end of the day, at some point there's going to be workplace tension, and normally it boils down to it being misunderstood personalities, but not necessarily bad intentions. With that, I think that a lot of times, the words that you're hearing are misunderstood as well. A lot of times when leaders are making decisions, they're making decisions on behalf of what is best for the business, or they should be,
Absolutely. Yeah.
not on what is best for them.
Right.
And sometimes if that decision does not align with what the person on the other side wants done, then emotions get involved. And I think that a lot of people take things, out of context, or they assume that there are bad intentions on that, and that's not necessarily the case. Everything that you do is for the greater good of the business,
Absolutely.
or it should be. Don't get
And-
me wrong.
Right.
People will do that. Will do wrong things, but the goal is to be on the right side of doing what's best for a business.
Absolutely. And I think we started out with one of the best examples that I would like to point to as far as a championship basketball team or a team that's going for a championship.
Yeah.
Everyone's there to make a contribution. Everyone's not going to make the same contribution, but everyone's contribution is necessary to whatever the process or the service is.
Correct.
So it's detrimental for everyone to understand each other and be able to work with each other in that environment and know their role and play your role.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You don't have to like the person, but you have to get along with the person and do your job.
Absolutely. And you're going to find that everybody that is hired is not, they're not going to have the same personality. Every person is different. You have more some people who are more task focused and decisive. They want action, not feelings, right?
Right.
But then you also have people who are people 1st. They're more harmony driven. They want to avoid conflict like the plague. They don't want any type of they don't want any type of issues with anybody or any issues to arise. But the reality is that's going to happen, as you continue to build a business.
Right.
You also have the analyst, which is going to be like your a person that is like really data driven. Everything is driven by numbers, and I mean, and that's a really good thing. It just depends on people call them different things, so I don't really want to label any type of person, because
Right.
depending on, where you work, it may be identified as something different. But
Right.
data driven people are very they need numbers. It has to make sense. It's logical. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And that creates structure and proof. But then you have your big energy creatives. Those are people who are fast talkers. They brainstorm out loud. And they want to be heard. So you have all of these different personalities functioning within a business. If you have that many people, or you
Right.
could have all of those people wrapped up in one, which is crazy.
Absolutely. I've been sitting here thinking that too. Like, dang, I think because I'm like a little bit of all of that at certain times.
Depending on where you're at and what you're
Right.
doing, right?
And that might be necessary for people that are in leadership and dealing with multiple personalities. You have to be able to kind of read the room and gauge a person, and you also have to know the employees that you work with, either excuse me, as the manager or as an employee, just amongst your coworkers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yep.
And with all of those different characteristics are good in some way, shape, or form. Especially, I feel like entrepreneurs have all of those traits. You know what I'm saying? But if you do have a business where you've hired somewhat of a little bit of all of that, you've got to be able to find a way to bring all of those different traits together
Right.
to work as one,
Yep.
right? And we counted about 4 different types.
Right.
That's almost the equivalent to a 5-man basketball team. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
Yep.
And so everybody has to be able to work together. And in order to do that, we want to give you 5 quick tips on working with anyone. And I'm going to quit slapping my leg like that. That's weird. All right.
Yeah.
So the first one is, you want to make sure that you can meet people where they are, right? Don't make them change to match your style.
Yeah.
You just adjust to their approach slightly.
Right.
You agree?
I definitely agree with that, because the thing is, you got to have a different. I get my words all jumbled up today. You have to have different ingredients for that soup, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? You don't really want to change salt into pepper.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't want to change pepper to salt. You just want that person to be with their person. If it does have to be changed up slightly, that's only to fit the needs of the service.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Not to change that person's characteristics,
Right, or who
anything,
they are.
change their hair, or you know what I'm saying? Anything about that person other than their approach to the business or the service.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well,
Number 2, listen more than you assume. Most conflicts are assumptions dressed up as facts. And
that is so true. That is so true. Because a lot of times, people will make an assumption and then they want to stand on it.
right.
You know what I'm saying? And they want to believe they already have their mindset to believe whatever it is that's already in their head.
Right.
So they're coming in with intentions to make that assumption a fact.
Right.
And you can break it all the way down, and a lot of times it just
doesn't register.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. Number 3, ask how they prefer to communicate. I think this is really important, because some people, they don't communicate well in person. So is email best? Is Slack best? Is in person okay? How do you prefer for me to communicate with you? Or how do you prefer to be communicated with? This one hack definitely improves collaboration instantly. Because you want to kind of meet people where they are and what makes them most comfortable. Because I feel like if you meet people where they are, they're going to give you their best.
You know what? That's a kind of a tricky one for me. You know why? Because depending on the setting, for instance, like a corporate setting, for instance, say, for instance, you're a person that likes to communicate in person, right? But there's some information that's very intricate to the mission that's being delivered. but the person that deliver it may not deliver it properly. Miscommunication.
Miscommunication.
You
Okay.
know what I'm saying? So there, it's an in-person communication. There's no documentation of this communication. Well, I told you this. No, you told me that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think, and I like I like that you said that, because I think that if there is communication that needs to, and we're talking about communication, you're talking about communication in reference to maybe
Doing the job.
doing the job. And so I do feel like in that instance, there does need to be some type of in writing. You know, especially like if we're talking about how to do the job, there should be standard operating procedures.
Absolutely.
You know, and if you don't have that, you need to get those ASAP, because then when there is an issue, then we can clearly pull those out and say, here, that we have these standard operating procedures. This is what we ask you to do, and this is what you did. And so we want to make sure that you don't do that for safety purposes or whatever.
Right.
You know? But if you don't have that in writing, then it is kind of a battle of the he say, she says, or whatever.
Becomes a slippery slope.
Yeah. And you don't want to do that.
No.
So I agree with that.
Don't take personality clashes personally. It's rarely about you. It's about how people are wired. That's a very good point as well. Can't really take anything personally, even though sometimes it does feel a little personal.
Yeah, I think, and there also is the a sense of, you know, like I said, as you are in a working environment with people, you develop relationships. And so those relationships, those working relationships, can sometimes turn into what one person may consider friendship, and others may just consider, you know, a better working relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And take that the wrong way. And so then when things do happen, promotions or anything like that, they begin to take those things personally.
Right.
And the goal is not, I don't think that any one person is in, there may be people out there, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that. There are people out there that are deliberately trying to, you know, stunt people's growth and whatever. But the majority of people who are running business are bringing you in and hiring you, especially in a corporate setting. They don't want you to stay stagnant. They want you to grow.
Right.
You know, because your growth makes them look good too, essentially. You
Right.
know, so I don't think that that's what it is. I think that a lot of people just, they get in their feelings and without me saying it the way some people say it, forget your feelings. You know, this is not about your feelings. We're here to do a job. Let's do this job. And as long as you're doing that job to the best of your ability, and not creating other issues, then, you know, no ceilings. You liked that, didn't you?
I feel you.
No ceilings. All right. And so, and then number 5, flex your style, but stay authentic. Flexing, not faking. It means showing different parts of your personality depending on who you're dealing with. And so I think that sometimes they use the term code switching. You know,
Right.
There are instances where you do have to, you know, just be able to read the room and adjust to the room.
Right.
You know, sometimes, you know, who you authentically are may not shine in certain rooms, and so sometimes you do have to just, you know, make slight adjustments so that you can be able to relate to whatever room you're in.
And sometimes your shine just shines so bright in that room.
Baby.
You know, you don't want to feel like you have to dim your light down or dumb yourself down.
Right.
But you kind of want to make an adjustment to, like, not really make yourself like smaller, but make yourself more approachable
There's a balance.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
balance, I would say.
Yeah.
And I just, for me personally, I a lot of times I walk in a room and it's like I'm not trying to be the center of attention. It just kind of happens that way sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you laugh because you know exactly what I'm talking about. You be in
Yes.
them corporate offices and everyone's, their way. Then you come through and you're like this
Different person.
different person. You're not like everybody else. Not necessarily just loud, but your presence is,
Your presence gives loud.
yeah.
And a lot of times people cannot handle that.
It's kind of intimidating,
Yeah.
I guess, or so to speak. Even though you can be.
So no, you don't. So I feel like you don't want to dim your light, but you also want to strike a balance somewhere.
Yeah.
And so I think that in that you do have to find that one person or in the room that will receive you. But you've got to have the discernment to be
Right.
able to do that. You've got
Yeah.
to be able to kind of read people.
Girl, you is not at church today.
Check me out.
You better cut it down now.
Check me out. But you do, you got
Yeah.
to be able to figure out, who in this room, because you can look at people. You can look at, body language and facial expressions to determine who's a little bit more receiving than others.
Right, absolutely.
So that you can kind of find a way in.
Yeah.
And that's not just in, that's not just in a corporate setting. That's, you decide you want to go out to like a bar or something and you go alone because it's okay to go and sit and eat alone, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
If you do want to engage in conversation, you're going to look for the person that seems to be the most inviting.
You're right.
So yeah, I think about it like that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my thoughts on it.
Courtney's thoughts. That sounds like a segment, don't it?
Yeah. Courtney's thoughts. You see how I did that ting?
Yeah.
I'm going to keep doing it.
Please don't.
Next episode. All right. I'm done. All right. Well, with that being said, that's pretty much our quick tips that we have. I think that really when you know how to handle different personalities, you'll stop reacting and start leading. And that's always what you want in a business, especially as an entrepreneur. You want to be the person that leads. And you want to, I think people want to be led by somebody who leads with integrity, who leads with patience, and who leads with kindness. So,
I would also say a certain level of empathy.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that as a leader, that just kind of encompasses the human factor.
Yes.
And doesn't place you at I'm above you, I'm here with you, and we're doing this together. You know what I'm saying? As a mission to be accomplished, to fulfill together, not as you work for me.
Yeah. Now we are not experts. We are just speaking on experience. And so if this information resonates with you, then like this video. If you find that this information, you want more information, then please continue to check out the rest of the videos that we have on the Turtlesmith network, as well as like, share, and subscribe. And did I say everything?
Yeah, I think you hit it all.
I feel like I did. I feel like I did because I almost went into like another YouTuber's thing, and I didn't want to do that. So anyway, if you like this video, then thank you. Hit the like button. If you are interested in more information, please view the rest of the videos that we have. Like, share, and subscribe. Give us feedback on the comments. Let us know what you did or didn't like, if it's accurate, inaccurate, if we need to make improvements. We're open. We just want to come on here just to kind of give our thoughts. So thank you for tuning in.